these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, our bones are dry, and our hope is lost. We are cut off from our path. Verse number 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come out of your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. God, do us again. Let us see you. Sir, we must see Jesus. Sir, we must see Jesus. Sir, we must see Jesus. God, we confess our sin, our flaws, our frailties. And we ask you, God, to use this crooked stick to make it straight, God. Use these feet of clay to mount your sacred desk. We confess everything that's not of you that's in us. We need you one more time. Sir, we must see Jesus. 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 I can feel the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. For surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. So we must see Jesus. Hallelujah. You may be seated in the presence of majesty. So we must see Jesus. Hallelujah. This past week was Valentine's week, and all of the flowers and all of the good candies and chocolates were given to the loved ones. And in the midst of it all, they lingered even further. And when I went to get my wife this past week, she said to me, come and get these flowers for me. And when she said that, it clicked. I said to her, do you remember last year, well, whatever the year that was, when we were in Alabama, and the pollen was kicking up? He said, yes. I said, well, you love flowers so much that you had arrangements on your desk. And you wondering why you coughing and sneezing. I said, that which you love, have you sneezing and coughing. This is pollen time. And if you have an allergy or sinus congestion with pollen, you will have this time. She said, I didn't even think about that. Because she loved those pollen, she loved those roses, and ignored the fact that that could be the thing that have her sneezing. Because her desk is laden with flowers and roses and all this stuff, and she comes home, says, we need to get some lights on and sprout the place and all this other stuff. And when you already stop sneezing, you go back to your desk and put all the pollen in your nasal passage and start sneezing again. And I look at that, and in preparation, I saw something that is obvious that we can't see. That's a very long intro that you wonder what in the world we're talking about, right? Well, this passage today, Ezekiel chapter number 37, reading from verse 12. Therefore, prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come out of your graves and bring you into the land of promise. I will open your graves and bring you into the land of Israel, the land of promise. This passage I had to revisit because we get caught up in understanding the dry bone experience.
Yes, yes.
The valley of dry bones.
Oh, Jesus.
Everybody heard what I said?
Yes, sir.
But while I was looking at this text, about Thursday or Wednesday, I'm not sure what night it was, about 3 in the morning, I was asleep. And all of a sudden, in my deep sleep, I was in a prophet pastor that I know. I was in that church. And it was 4 of us in that church. And one of the apostles said to me, look at that thing on the wall. And I was looking at this thing on the wall, but I couldn't see what he was talking about. And then another prophet was talking to the other prophet. It was 4 of us in there who consider themselves prophets. And we started trying to understand some things that we couldn't understand. But there went a whirlwind in the church. And we had to grab onto stuff. And all of us tried to speak in English. And the 4 of us ended up speaking in another language. This language was not tongues. It was like a heavenly language that we could not understand. Everybody heard what I said? And so we were trying to communicate with each other, but we could not because the wind was so boisterous. It was carrying on it was moving so fast that it was still. And the whole room, the whole church was saturated with God's presence. And we were speaking in this heavenly language. And after some time of being in there, just going before the Lord in the heavenly language, I woke up. And I shook my wife. I said, baby, I was in the presence of God. And she said, what? And I shook back into the heavenly language. And I was trying to explain to her, but I was not speaking English. So I look at her and she's looking at me. And this is not the dream. This is the reality. I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. And since I couldn't talk, I said, yeah, I just turned my head and went back to sleep. So when day cleaned, when daybreak, and we were able, I said, baby, I remember telling you what I was experiencing, but I couldn't explain to you. She said, I thought you didn't know that you were awake. I said, no, I was very much awake. I just couldn't speak English. As I went off in tongues, talking to her, trying to explain this, and she couldn't hear it. She was looking at me like, you really think you're talking to me? So I went back to sleep, she went back to sleep, and I'm understanding. I'm trying to figure this thing out all week. What are you saying? And when I look at this text, I have a better appreciation of that. Ezekiel 36, verse 1. Ezekiel 36, verse 1. It says, also, son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel, and say ye, mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord. Everybody hear what I'm saying? You all heard it. Verse number 2 says, thus saith the Lord God, because the enemy has said against you. We're talking to the mountain. We're not talking to the people. God is speaking to the mountain. I said to you